Hi, so today I'm going to talk about preparing your camper van or motorhome or caravan for winter, often called winterising. It will depend whether you're full-time or just use your van occasionally as to what you do. So the cold weather's fast approaching, and so you need to be thinking now about what you're going to do. So some of the things to think of. She says, oh, by the way, I'm not, as you can see, in my camper van. I'm actually on a pet sit, which is the business that I do. I'm currently looking after 4 dogs. One of them's 11 months old. So no doubt at some stage I'm going to get interrupted by the little one. I won't say her name, but she's also known as the Dark Destroyer. Need I say more? So let's start then. So first of all, if you inspect your van's exteriors, where I would start. So I would start by having a look at the roof, cleaning your roof, getting rid of all the green algae, etc. Making sure your solar panels are clean. Check the wiring on your solar panels, make sure they're secure on your roof. Then I would check the sealant around your fans, etc., vents. Make sure your sealant isn't dried up, broken, cracked. If it needs attention, get that sorted, get the relevant sealant used and get that all sealed up so you don't get any leaks, etc. in the winter, in through with the rain. Make sure that there's no leaves stuck in anywhere in any of your vents that may be above your bathroom and stuff like that, or any insects, and check all that. Then working your way down the van, it's always a good idea to check your seals around the doors, etc., and your windows. They can become quite dry and brittle, and when they do shrink, you'll find that water will be able to get in. I do need to have a look at my seals on my side window myself, actually. And what I tend to do, of course you can get them replaced. I'm not sure how easy or expensive that would be, but one of the things to do is try and keep the rubber pliable and soft so it doesn't shrink up and go dry. And what I tend to do a couple of times a year, I'll go around with a can of silicone sealant and I will spray all my seals, etc., just to keep them that bit more supple, and hope, that it helps to keep the water out, really. So that's the sort of body of the van. Obviously check anywhere for any damage you may have, etc. While you're there, check all your lights are working, headlamps, everything else, indicators, blah blah blah, brake lights. So you're giving it a good old check over, because let's face it, we don't all often do that on a regular basis. Check your tyres as well, because in cold weather I've read that the tyre pressures can drop. So check that they're all up to the correct pressure. Check your treads are all right. Give them a little inspection, make sure there's no cracks or damage on sidewalls, no hidden screws in anywhere and stuff like that. And then you may, if you're going to use it during the winter, you may want to look at getting either snow tyres or all-terrain tyres or snow chains. If you're going abroad in some countries, you have to use them between certain months of the year. I think when I saw it was something like November and April, I can't remember. So, that you have to do that. So that's something to think of. And then going down underneath, just check all your tanks and pipe work are all right. For your tanks, make sure that they're insulated if you're going to be using your van, and the pipe work leading to it. And then moving into inside, check, you can do things like this as if you're going to be using your van. Make sure you've got, lots of people all know this. I'll be preaching to, telling people to suck an egg, but there are people who are new to it and won't know this. So get yourself some decent curtains, thermal curtains, or some blinds, because I would love some blinds in my van, but I've only currently got curtains. I'm not sure how expensive it is. It's something I need to look into, really. But yeah, that makes such a difference. I've also got big long thermal curtains behind my cab, separating the living area, a sign language for separating. And the difference on a morning when I open that curtain to even just look out, you feel the cold come in, it makes a huge difference. So I'd definitely say do that. What else? Oh yes, the flooring, you can maybe have carpet down or some rugs that you can put down just for the winter maybe, and that again will help keep it, you know, warmer. You know, it goes without saying. I'm just reading my notes because there's no way in the world I can remember all this. You can also use, if you're going to be using your van in the winter, tank heaters apparently. I haven't got any. I would love some because I did have a mishap, which I will go through in a moment. And they keep the temperature in your main holding tank and the waste tank at a temperature so that it won't freeze. So I think that's a brilliant idea. Yeah, what happened with me was, blonde moment, I was on a pet sit, and I've been in my van before at about -5, -6, no problems, fab. And I looked at the weather forecast and it said it was going to be -8. I thought, it's only a couple of degrees cold, right, that'll be fine. Now, what I stupidly didn't take into account was I wasn't living in my van at that moment, and I didn't have my heating on in my van. What an error. So it eventually went to -14. All my pipes froze, and when they and it blew the taps, they were frozen and blown all the joints, and the shower, I was gutted. So I just had to open the drain plug, wait and keep an eye on it for when they defrosted so it didn't go everywhere. Turned my pump off, which again, it froze, everything had frozen. I couldn't believe I've been so stupid, honestly. Anyway, that's what happened. So be careful, don't make my mistake. If you're not using your van, drain it down. If you're using it, make sure that you keep it warm enough and that you're well insulated. So you can also you can get like if you're full-time or using your van a lot, get yourself a little survival kit, I would say. Now, that sounds extreme, it isn't, it's just sense really. So I would have, well, things you can have. You could have a generator as a backup in case your heating goes down or your solar's not getting enough power, etc. So that's one thing to think of. Get yourself extra blankets or fleece. I like the fleece throws because they're much more lightweight and easier to wash and get dried than a heavy blanket, but everybody to their own. Get yourself extra ones. What I do for storage is I have cushions on my bed, and it's not just to look pretty and girly, because to be quite honest, I probably wouldn't bother. But they're extra storage for extra blankets, fleece throws, and my extra sheets and things like that. I keep in that. So it's a good little tip I picked up off somebody. You can also make sure you've got plenty of warm clothing in your van as well, so you can layer up if it gets really cold. And something very simple, a pair of wellies. Because sometimes if there's snow on the ground or it's sopping wet and you're ankle deep in water, you don't want to be going getting some boots or shoes soaking wet, because then you've got to try and dry them, and then you've got wet socks, and then you're getting cold. So that's another little tip. And have them to hand in the van. Some in the winters, in the summer I keep mine in the boot of the van, but in the winter they'll be up front with me, because I don't want to get out into the snow or water or muddy patch and walk round to the back of the van and get my wellies out. I want to get them on before I get out. So that's a little tip. Get yourself a hot water bottle. You know, sometimes if you get yourself too cold, it's very hard to get warm again. So simple hot water bottle. The other thing is ice scraper, de-icer. I've got both of those, and a snow shovel. You know me, I'm belts and braces, but it doesn't take much room up. They're lightweight, and you just may well need that. Get yourself extra food in, non-perishable food, so that if you do get stuck somewhere for a few days, you've got something to eat. So, you know, as you can imagine, all sorts. I even have things like cans of rice pudding, so I can eat it cold if need be. So that's something to bear in mind. Get yourself a flashlight, torch, with extra batteries as well. So if you do lose power, you can still see what's going on. Jump cables, if you get a flat battery in the cold, always worth having those. Or, which I've got both, belts and braces. You can get yourself the jump leads, and also I thought, well, I'm not always near people. You know, if a battery goes flat, I might not be able to find somebody. So I've got something called, I think it's called a NOCO Noco or Novo, Noco I think, and it's about the size of a house brick and about this thick, and it will, you keep it charged up. Make sure you keep it charged up. I stick a reminder in my phone for every 2 or 3 months to charge it, make sure it's charged up, and you literally clip it on your battery, turn your engine over and it starts it. Thankfully, I've never had to use it, but I have used it on 2 other people's vehicles to help them out, and it worked an absolute treat. So that's something that won't take up too much room but could really save the day. Also, the other thing to do is test your heating now. Don't wait until winter when it gets really cold and you go, well, I think I'll stick the heating on today. Test it now, make sure it's working. You might want to get, I've got Truma gas heating system. You may want to get, there's diesel as well. I would love a diesel backup heater. Matter of fact, I'd probably use it as my main heater. And I keep thinking, oh, I really want to get one fitted, and I haven't got round to it. Plus, I'm not quite sure how much it would be, and more importantly, finding somebody that absolutely knows what they're doing and will do it safely. But that's something I really would like to do. So whatever heating you use, always make sure you've got your carbon monoxide detector and a smoke detector in your van. They don't cost much, they could save your life. It's a no-brainer. And check your batteries in there regularly. Also, don't forget to ventilate your van as well. It's no good blocking up every single tiny little where air can get in. Vent, that's the word I'm looking for. Because you do need air to be able to circulate as well. That's something else I would quite like. You can get like little deflectors that go over your side windows, so you can wind them down a bit and the rain won't get in. I think that's a great idea, because I tend to keep mine shut, because I think if it starts raining in the night, it's going to rain in my cab. So that's another little thing you can do. I've also got in my shower room, I've got a vent in the ceiling that's permanently open. So there's a little bit of airflow goes there as well. So I think I've covered everything for in your van. Now, if you're going to store your van, so this will be different. If you're going to store your van, first of all, do a really good deep clean, wipe every surface, and this will help to ensure that mould and mildew doesn't build on it. So that's really important. Empty and remove all food. Make sure you, because you don't want to attract mice or anything else in there, make sure you empty your fridge and clean and dry your fridge and leave it open a bit to air so that it doesn't go mouldy inside. You should disconnect your batteries, take them off wherever you're going, and put them on a slow trickle charge to keep them topped up. And also drain your system. Don't do what I did. Don't forget to drain your system. That's most important. And that includes your grey waste and your black waste. Make sure everything is totally drained. Also, you can get the what are they called? Dehumidifiers. You can get like, you can make homemade ones, but you get plastic ones. I've got them from Poundland before, and you just pop them in your van and you'll be amazed at the moisture that that gets. The other thing I would say is check your van regularly. Going back years, I used to have a touring caravan, and that was stored for the winter, and I thought, oh, I'll go up and check on it, and I hadn't gone up for about 6 weeks, and time had just run away, and I thought, I'll go and check it the one day. And it was a nice caravan. I opened the door and I was horrified because fluffy mould had started growing on one of the seats. I was like, no. So just imagine if I hadn't gone for another month. So check it regularly. Stick a reminder in your phone, maybe once a month. Go up there, check your van over the winter, or more frequently. So that's always worth doing. Also, you can get covers for your vans, caravans, motorhomes. I would suggest getting a breathable one. They're meant to be better for them. But again, with everything I'm saying, I'm no expert at all. I'm just trying to help people out with bits I've learned along the way. Always do your own research. Also, yeah, I've said about checking your vehicle during the storage. So I think that's about it that I can think of. Over to you. If you've got any top tips for either living in your van in winter or for storing your van, please drop them in the comments below, because it helps everybody out. Also, if you could subscribe, press that button. Do it now before you forget. That'd be fantastic. And if you could maybe like, share, comment, everything helps with these so-called algorithms. So I think that's everything. Get yourself prepared for winter, get one step ahead. Thanks for watching. Oh, and a final thing, in case you're wondering what my 4 little charges look like, take a look at this. We have Freddie, Pepper, Wilma, aka the Dark Destroyer, and Maisie.